Welcome back for another game break, everybody. So, know this about me before I start talking about this game. I have terrible decision making, apparently, when it comes to backing Kickstarter projects. Up until Sea of Stars, I've had 3 what I would consider failures under my belt so far. The first game basically robbed me, or the first project robbed me, I should say more accurately. The second project, it changed hands in terms of who was developing it. It got really messy, and the game that was released was a far cry from what was promised. And the third game, they delivered what was promised, I guess, but it just ended up being a really poor product. So Sea of Stars, thankfully, breaks that streak for me. Thank God, it's about time I got a good Kickstarter game under my belt. Is the game perfect? No. No game is. It's got some issues, but by and large, I would consider this a success. The positives far outweigh the negatives. And let's start with what drew me to this project in the first place. And it was the first look I had at this game's visuals. As soon as I saw the visuals for Sea of Stars, the game was already a winner to me. Getting almost 40 hours of these pixel visuals with their interactive environments, no less, that had me jumping, swimming, climbing, and also had small but fun puzzles, provided me more joy than I was expecting. Sea of Stars actually reminded me something that I'd forgotten for a while, and that was how important a game's environment can be to the overall experience, and how making it fun and interactive can provide its own joy outside the main draws of an RPG, like character, story, or battle systems. They really succeeded in making a vibrant, interactive pixel world. And of course, battle systems are super important when it comes to an RPG. They can make or break a game, and thankfully Sea of Stars I found quite enjoyable. I really liked the interactivity of it. Timed hits and timed blocks are actually quite a big part of the battle system, and I like that bit of interactivity when it comes to a turn-based battle system because it keeps me a little bit more engaged in the combat than just necessarily sitting back and enjoying the show, which is all fine and good too. But I really did like it for Sea of Stars in particular, and since the battle system was so balanced too, it really added a lot of impact to those timing sequences. The battle system was so balanced at times, I was really sweating it in the odd random encounter or two, actually probably more than just 1 or 2. And timing a hit or block perfectly made a world of difference in some fights for me. So it isn't gimmicky, and it really saved my butt a few times being able to do that. And then if you throw in lock breaking to interrupt enemies' abilities and character swapping, it was a lot of what I could ask for in a Chrono Trigger inspired RPG. And speaking of Chrono Trigger, aside from a few little moments, the game did not lean too heavily on what inspired it. And that's what I wanted. I wanted a game that maybe took inspiration, but still felt wholly original for the most part. And that's something that Sea of Stars did very well. And in terms of music, I've been listening to Sea of Stars' soundtrack for years already, before the game was even released. So yeah, you could say I liked it. It made me all nostalgic in the right ways, and combined with the visuals and the gameplay, it just made me yearn for those simpler years where I didn't have as many responsibilities and I could just come home, throw down all my notebooks and stuff like that from school, and then just game until I had to go to bed. Parents should have probably been watching me a little bit more closely at times, but those are the days that makes me remember fondly. So no, the music definitely hits the right spot. The 30 to 40 hour completion time, and that's doing pretty much everything in the game, was really refreshing to me too. And man, I don't know about you guys, but I don't know where I'm gonna find the time for all of these 100+ hour games that are coming out. I just literally do not have enough time to play those anymore. I don't even know if I did as a kid because games are just so long nowadays. I don't even know where I'm going to find time for most of them. I know some of them are going to fall by the wayside for years now. Whereas something like Sea of Stars, I can easily make an excuse to play it because it's like, oh, I can finish that within a month quite easily. Whereas other games will take me, God, half a year maybe? I don't know. They're just getting so big nowadays. And I would way rather play a tight 40-hour experience without a lot of busy work versus another game that has a lot of that. It's just no question what I prefer. And another benefit to only being this length is the chance of burnout is so greatly reduced. And by the end, and it was time to say goodbye to the game, I was ready for it. I was starting to be like, okay, I'm starting to wind down a little bit. And it was nice to be just kind of like, all right, Sea of Stars, I'll see you later. Had a good time with you. And I'm just not cursing its existence and wanting to be finished so I can move on to the next thing. So the length was a good thing. For Sea of Stars, my biggest complaints are actually in regards to its story and characters. And for me, that's kind of a big deal because those are two of the absolute most important things for me when it comes to an RPG. But I still enjoyed Sea of Stars' story and journey well enough. Is it something that I'll think over fondly for years to come, or will I contemplate its story for its complexity? No, but I still enjoyed the journey and was pleasantly surprised with some of its narrative turns. I was, however, surprised at the amount of direct tie-ins to this sequel game, The Messenger, though. Even though I knew this game was a prequel to that title, I was still quite surprised at how much directly tied into it. I didn't personally mind that though, because I played The Messenger, so I got a lot out of those tie-ins, but those who haven't will be kind of scratching their heads with some of the narrative developments or some of the questions that aren't really answered. And I'm not wholly against sequel bait. I just found it really noticeable in this title because of the rushed, lackluster ending. I'm cool being teased about potential future projects, but I guess maybe I'm only okay with that if I am wholly satisfied with the narrative I've been provided the whole game. And I very much wasn't when it came to maybe not the back half, but the last quarter, 20% or so of the game. With The Messenger and Sea of Stars, however, I am invested in the world building that has taken place so far. I do want to see how the overarching narrative ties together in future games, whatever form they take. I definitely liked what there was, even if some of it was not implemented into the game in a cohesive way. And damn, I really wish I could say I liked the main cast more. Good enough, not great, except for maybe one or two. I didn't find a lot of them super interesting. I didn't hate them, I just found myself not emotionally invested in some of the characters the amount I would have liked to have been on reflection. The main two characters in particular didn't leave a strong impression on me, which sucks because it's their game, and they were often overshadowed by the supporting characters instead. It wasn't for a lack of interesting things happening to them, because there were. Maybe the issue was that they were too similar, so perhaps their presences canceled each other out a bit, which kept them from being more of a presence by themselves and as individuals. In a nutshell, for Sea of Stars, I would say excellent visuals, great music, great environmental traversal, great combat, and an okay to good story with decent enough characters. I really like Sea of Stars. I'm very proud to have backed this on Kickstarter, but it's got some flaws. I can see that. But in spite of that, I would 100% back another Sabotage Studio game. I think they have a great team, and I think they're able to make great games regardless of the genre. I'm really curious to see what genre they decide to tackle next, or if they're going to do another side scroller, or if they're going to do another RPG again. Who knows? They know what they're going to be doing though already, I think, at this point. They made little hints about it already, what their third project's going to be. So no, thanks for watching, everybody. I really appreciate you watching these videos. And let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you soon, everybody. Take it easy.